A few months back, someone posted in a Reddit investing group. They had $47,000 split evenly between SCHG, VUG, and QQQM because they couldn't decide. Someone replied with a single question. Do you know these three funds overlap by over 80%? They didn't. They'd essentially bought the same companies 3 times, paid 3 separate expense ratios to do it, and ended up with no extra diversification, just extra complexity. But here's what's more interesting. There's one detail about these funds that's changed in the last 8 months that most people completely missed, and it directly affects which one you should pick going forward. I'll get to that in just a second. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how SCHG, VUG, and QQQM are built, the correct data including what changed in late 2025, how they've actually performed, what the fees really cost you in real dollars, and which one makes the most sense for your situation. Let's get into it. SCHG. Starting with SCHG, the Schwab US Large Cap Growth ETF. This fund tracks the Dow Jones US Large Cap Growth Total Stock Market Index. It currently holds about 197 stocks. The top positions, led by Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft, make up roughly 57% of the entire fund. That's not a typo. More than half the fund is concentrated in its top 10 names. And this matters for something most investors don't think about. If you already own VOO or an S&P 500 fund, about 53% of SCHG overlaps with that by weight. You're not getting completely different exposure, you're getting a more aggressive, growth-focused tilt on top of what you likely already own. Around 49% of SCHG sits in the technology sector, so this is a concentrated bet on large cap growth, specifically on the companies driving the AI and technology cycle. Now, the cost. SCHG's expense ratio is 0.04% per year. On a $10,000 portfolio, that's $4 annually. It's essentially invisible. To show you what that actually means in dollar terms, if you start with $1,000 and invest $5,000 per year, roughly $416 a month, at a 10% average annual return over 30 years, your total fee drag from SCHG's 0.04% expense ratio amounts to roughly $5,000 to $6,000 across that entire period. For a portfolio that could grow to over $830,000, that fee is genuinely negligible. Historically, SCHG has averaged roughly 16% annual returns over the past 10 years, well ahead of the S&P 500's 13 to 14% over the same window. Annual returns are quoted net of fees, so that's what you actually received. One thing worth knowing. SCHG's index undergoes an annual reconstitution in September and rebalances quarterly, which keeps the growth exposure clean without excessive turnover. Next is VUG, the Vanguard Growth ETF. This is where a small but interesting detail comes up. VUG tracks the CRSP US Large Cap Growth Index. It currently holds about 151 stocks, notably fewer holdings than SCHG's 197, and its top positions are Nvidia at 13.3%, Apple at 12.3%, Alphabet combined at around 9.9%, and Microsoft at 9.1%. Here's what surprises most people. SCHG and VUG have an 81% overlap by weight. So if you're trying to decide between these two specifically, you're not choosing different investments. You're mostly making a cost and structure decision. And on cost, Vanguard wins. VUG's expense ratio is 0.03% per year. That's 1 basis point cheaper than SCHG. On $10,000, that's $3 per year versus $4. Using the same 30-year example, $1,000 plus $5,000 annually at 10%, VUG's fee drag comes to roughly $3,000 to $4,000 total over 3 decades, even lower than SCHG. VUG currently manages around $394 billion in assets. It's one of the largest growth ETFs on the market by a wide margin. On performance, over the past 10 years, VUG has returned approximately 17 to 18% annually. That's a meaningful update from older data. The numbers have strengthened as the largest technology companies have dominated the market. About 60% of VUG sits in technology stocks, and the top 10 holdings account for roughly 60% of the fund. QQQM. Now the third fund, and this is where the story changes in a way most people haven't caught up on. QQQM is the Invesco Nasdaq 100 ETF. It tracks the Nasdaq 100, which holds the 100 largest non-financial companies listed on the Nasdaq. About 102 stocks total, including 2 small cash positions. You've almost certainly heard of QQQ, the older, bigger, more famous version. Here's the update that matters. In December 2025, Invesco officially converted QQQ from a unit investment trust into a standard open-end ETF and cut its expense ratio from 0.20% down to 0.18%. That's significant. Before that change, QQQM had a structural advantage beyond just fees. QQQ as a UIT couldn't reinvest dividends, couldn't participate in securities lending, and had less tax efficiency. All of that changed overnight on December 22, 2025. The fee gap between QQQ and QQQM narrowed from 5 basis points to 3. QQQM still wins at 0.15% versus 0.18%, but for long-term buy-and-hold investors, the choice is cleaner now. For active traders who want maximum liquidity and options access, QQQ remains the tool. For everyone else, QQQM is still the smarter version of the same fund. So what does QQQM actually look like? Technology accounts for about 54% of the portfolio, with communication services, Meta, Alphabet, adding another 16%, and consumer discretionary, Amazon, contributing around 12%. Crucially, the top 10 holdings represent about 47% of the fund, slightly less concentrated than SCHG's 57% and VUG's 60%. And the S&P 500 overlap for QQQM sits at roughly 46%, slightly less than SCHG's 53% and VUG's 54%. So if you're building on top of an S&P 500 position, QQQM offers marginally more differentiated exposure. For a company to enter the Nasdaq 100, it must be listed on the exchange for at least 3 consecutive months, be classified as non-financial, and meet minimum daily trading volume requirements. The index caps any single company at 24% and runs quarterly rebalances alongside an annual reconstitution each December, so it stays current with market shifts. The real comparison. Here's where most comparisons just drop a table and walk away. Let's actually work through what these numbers mean. 10-year annualized returns. SCHG 16%, VUG 17 to 18%, QQQM, same index, 19%. The Nasdaq 100 has led clearly over a decade, but performance does shift. Over the last 3 years, SCHG has been more competitive. Over the last year, QQQM significantly outperformed, driven by AI infrastructure spending across its top holdings. Now let's talk about what the fee difference actually costs you. Using that same example, $1,000 to start, $5,000 per year, 10% average return, 30 years. VUG 0.03%, fee drag of roughly $3,000 to $4,000 total. SCHG 0.04%, fee drag of roughly $5,000 to $6,000 total. QQQM 0.15%, fee drag of roughly $22,000 to $23,000 total. That's a roughly $17,000 gap between SCHG and QQQM in total fees over 30 years. That sounds significant, but here's the question you should actually be asking. If QQQM's historical performance advantage continues by even just 1% more per year, historically it's been 2 to 3% more, that same 30-year portfolio grows to nearly $150,000 more with QQQM. The fee gap is real, but in the context of a possible $150,000 return advantage, $17,000 in fees is a sideshow. The fee is not the decision. Performance conviction is. On volatility and drawdowns, both funds dropped roughly 32 to 33% in their worst calendar year. QQQM does carry slightly more volatility. Its maximum drawdown is around 35% versus about 34% for SCHG and VUG. These are not dramatic differences, but they are differences. In a sharp bear market, all three will fall hard. That's the trade-off for the long-run upside. Decision framework. So here's how to actually make this decision. Choose VUG. If your primary priority is minimizing fees, you prefer Vanguard, and you want broad large-cap growth exposure with a clean, time-tested structure. At 0.03%, it's the lowest cost option of the three, and it's delivered strong long-term performance. Choose SCHG if you want functionally the same exposure as VUG. You prefer Schwab as your platform, and the 0.04% expense ratio is comfortable. The difference between SCHG and VUG is genuinely minor. This decision is mostly about which brokerage you prefer. Choose QQQM if you want the highest historical long-term returns, slightly less overlap with an S&P 500 position you already hold, exposure specifically to the companies driving the AI and technology cycle, and you can tolerate modestly higher volatility. Yes, the 0.15% expense ratio is higher than VUG and SCHG, but over time, QQQM's return advantage has comfortably outpaced that fee difference. What to avoid? Holding all three. The overlap between SCHG and VUG is 81%. Between VUG and QQQM, it's around 60%. Between SCHG and QQQM, roughly 58%. You're not diversifying, you're creating complexity for no real benefit. Pick one, hold it through market drops. That consistency is where the real return gets built. All three of these funds are excellent. Any one of them, held consistently for 20 or 30 years, has a realistic shot at building serious wealth. The data supports that. History supports that. The question isn't which one is perfect. The question is which one you'll actually hold when the market drops 30% and your neighbor is calling it a crisis. Pick that one.